Board Chair for the St. Louis Women's March.
Hi, I'm Dana Kelly, the Executive Director for the St. Louis Women's March.
Hi, I'm Lindsay Skrzynski, and I'm the Media Engagement Director for the St. Louis Women's March.
And I'm Victoria Griffin, the Marketing and Communications Director for the St. Louis Women's March.
We are so excited that you are tuning in to join us for the 2022 virtual St. Louis Women's March this year. As you know, the global pandemic is still affecting our communities. That's why we decided to bring a virtual program to you today.
We are always excited to be united and take it to the streets. We are equally excited to bring you this virtual program today.
We have a lot to celebrate, so we're going to take some time to honor our past, but also look ahead.
And we want to focus on the importance of supporting one another, and empowerment and women.
And if you want to know how you can act after this, visit stlwomensmarch.com.
COVID has forced us to change how we think and how we connect. Despite the obstacles, we searched for a way to stay true to our mission of outreach amongst a society that was social distancing. Amid a global pandemic that isolated us from friends, family, and loved ones, we all held strong, finding new ways to interact and bridge the distance that separated us. United in a common struggle, we adapted to our new world. We pushed to continue to build despite new obstacles and unforeseen circumstances. Now, we stand together with a renewed sense of purpose and devotion. We have resolved to uphold the values that led us to march in the first place. And to focus on what matters most when the world tries to tell us otherwise. To that end, we define ourselves as a distinct and individual presence, adjacent to all other marches in brand, ethos, and core values. We are inclusive because we serve all women, regardless of culture, origin, or creed. We not only stand up and fight back, but we march forward towards progress and action in the forms of furthering legislation, fostering sisterhood, and funding organizations that are doing the work our communities so desperately need. We donate our time and our resources because we value the relationships we've cultivated with those who rely on us for support during their current hardships. At the end of the day, we do what we do because we are committed to serving the women, citizens, and families of St. Louis. As a separate organization from the National March, we, the St. Louis Women's March, provide an experience that is just for us. St. Louis, you have given us the ability to fund facilities that feed families, build organizations that support single mothers and fathers, and create institutions that work towards the end of homelessness and shelter our unhoused citizens. You have granted a voice to the voiceless and given them a platform for progress and an environment in which new life can grow. But it is up to us to continue to foster it. Through your donations, we have seen the programs we partner with exceed their outreach capabilities and impact a larger number of underserved communities. We recognize there will always be a need, but we promise we will always work to fill it. So now is the time to push forward on new paths of prosperity to gain new ground in the fight. And even though it may look different, our individual efforts will create collective change for each and every one of us. And now a word from our 2022 local leaders and honorees.
Hey y'all, Vivi here. I am a singer, songwriter, artist, and all-around creative, and pretty much an STL native. I say pretty much because I was born in Queens, New York, but I was raised and really seasoned here in St. Louis. I graduated from Central Visual and Performing Arts High School and Webster University. And yeah, I began my artistry and my work and my roots as an artist really, really deeply here in St. Louis. I just recently released a project called the I Want Your Love Pack on Valentine's Day. It's a collection of some of my favorite original love songs, so check that out. I'm also in a band called BB and the Neo Souls, another band as well called the Luster Lights, and between those two, I was pretty much wrapped up and that was my full-time work until December of 2021 when I joined the National Blues Museum staff as a museum associate. So yeah, that's me. For me, when I think about being a woman, I think about the power and just the energy of strength. I mean, on a daily basis, people have ideas and they bring them forward. And on a daily basis, women have people in them and bring them forward into the world. So that's incredible. And even more so incredible that that's just one of the many superpowers afforded to women. I mean, the amount of power and strength and energy that it takes to love, to nurture, to care, to teach, to do all of the things that women do on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, on a minute to moment basis, that really keeps things going in the right ways. It really shifts. It really shifts the way things move. Women, we do that. So I love being a woman, and I love the power and the responsibility and everything that comes with it. One of the reasons why it's so important to me to be a connector and a waymaker wherever I can within my industry and within my community is simply because that's how it was done for me, and that's how I got to do anything or be anywhere. I remember just as a kid always wanting to do music. I heard it, I was around it, and I saw it being done. So I was like, okay, it's something that I could do. Just didn't know how to get there, and it was always constantly someone who just saw me wanting it, someone who saw me loving what I was doing, who just put me in a position. So I try to, as much as possible, where I see that, where I see passion and care, give access to resources, whatever I have, knowledge, anything, and just share it to make their journey a little bit easier, because there was always someone making my journey easier, and there still is. So I feel like it only makes sense. There's no other way to do it to me. A current partnership that I'm so excited to be involved in right now would have to be one with Opera Theater St. Louis. I am a committee member for their New Works Collective, which is their new initiative to basically break the mold of how operas are commissioned. I'm so excited to basically be able to knock down the barriers between qualifications and just the old way of doing things and getting opera works commissioned. It's a very exclusive industry and we're trying to make it more inclusive, and I am so honored to be a part of that process. It's a project that's centered around St. Louis artists, but it's also national. So just the opportunity to have a collaboration on that scale is amazing, and to have impact, to be able to impact on that scale is an honor, and I'm so excited to be able to do it. I march to bring people together and to stand in the gaps between access and opportunity. So thank you so much, St. Louis. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to say a personal thank you to first my mommy, the woman who had me, and then I have a mom network of just moms, grandmas, sisters, and so many other lovely, beautiful women who love and support and have guided me to where I am. So thank you to you guys, and I hope we all can march together.
Hello, St. Louis. Hello, St. Louis Women's March. I first started marching back in 2017, January of 17, right? That was our first time gathering shortly after that inauguration that year, and been marching ever since. And I'm so happy to join you virtually here. I was asked to say a little bit about who I am and what I do, with a message of unity and empowerment, of course, because that's what this march is all about. So virtually here in love with you, my name is Tracy Werner. I'm the Community Development Manager for All True Credit Union. We are a community development financial institution, so I have a fantastic job where I get to do things differently. I get to think outside the box, and I get to be a disruptor in the financial sector. This is why it's so important that we have women in every industry, and me being in the financial industry, I bring my womanness, I bring my life experiences to that industry, and I can offer a different perspective, right? So that's what I do. I bring my history and my experience of being a homemaker who lived with financial abuse. I bring the experience of not having any financial stability of my own whatsoever, not having any credit of my own, access to checking account, things like that, and packing up my 4 kids and our dog and leaving that situation to make a better, more peaceful, more empowering place for my kids. Filing for bankruptcy, enduring a repossession, overcoming that, managing countless payment plans to keep the utilities on, to get my kids to the doctor, not having health insurance, all of those things, that's what I bring, all of those experiences, that's what I bring to my work, and that's why I do what I do. I, as much as I do in my job, I also have to serve on a number of different boards to push for legislation and to push for policy, because when it comes to housing prices, cost of daycare, not having safety nets for our families when they need them, I've experienced that, right? So we need to move in different directions. We need to change legislation, and not just for women, not just for single parents, but I also am acutely aware of discriminatory practices and history that that has happened in banking where I work. So changing that, making people aware of that, that's the work that I'm proud of as well. So that's the work that I do, and that is also very much entangled with why I march. While I will keep marching, but not just marching, but moving. moving, collaborating, dreaming, and disrupting. On another note about disruption and intersectionality, quick point here, I gave birth to 4 beautiful babies of color. So our brown children, our black children are facing more obstacles than I faced as a white woman, dealing with the seemingly insurmountable obstacles at that time. That shouldn't be the case. We have to do better. We have to create better policy. We have to educate other white folk. It's hard work, and it absolutely needs to be done. You can't have empowered women without empowered women of color, without our black women at the table leading us. We can do it. We can do it, St. Louis. I know that we can. We can overcome our history. We can bring our experience with us. We can work together for change, not just today, not just at the march, but that's why we march, and that's why we move. And remember, don't just march, but hashtag live the march. The meaning and the purpose behind this march, live it every day. We can do it. Love you, St. Louis.
Peace, everybody. My name is Christian Blackman. I am a St. Louis native, born and raised. I am a community organizer, an activist, and an art curator. I've been doing work in the community here in the city of St. Louis for about over a decade. I've done a number of things. I've worked on a number of issues, from economic justice work. I work to raise the minimum wage here in the city of St. Louis, so over 30,000 workers, 30,000 citizens were able to see an increase in their pay due to the work that we did to raise the minimum wage. I've done work around voting protection, so protecting voting rights for all Missourians across the state, specifically here in St. Louis. I've also done youth justice work. I've done LGBTQ rights work, women's rights work, housing justice work, which is what I'm currently doing. I am at Homes for All St. Louis. Shout out to my team. Our motto is housing is a human right, and we believe just that. All folks should have housing. No excuses. Everyone should have fair housing, safe housing, affordable and equitable housing. So that's the work that I'm doing currently. As far as the art curating work, I've been blessed to do work with a number of artists, both emerging, up-and-coming artists and career established artists. I've worked with at least 40 artists. I've also done a number of exhibitions and shows. The very first show that I did, I want to note real quick, is called Invisible No More, and it speaks to the plight of black women and black girls, specifically around us going missing and around communal and state-sanctioned violence against us. And what does being a woman, womanhood mean to me? It means power, it means resilience, it means nurturing, love, and care. It means ain't nothing moving without us. And it also means that just as much as we give and put out in the community, we also should be giving that back. So the love, the care, and support, and the nurturing that we give, we should also be giving that love, care, support, and nurturing back. I also want to shout out my church, St. John's Church, the beloved community on the north side. I've been there. Shout out to them, and also shout out Harriet's Gun. It's a collective that I work with, an all black women collective, and we do work specifically in the north side or North City. And we fellowship with our neighbors over there. We feed them, clothe them, and provide them with resources. So I want to shout out the church, and I want to shout out Harriet's Gun. And lastly, I want to give thanks to Stl Womens March. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for considering me. I want to shout out all those that love me and support me. One thing before I finish up, I also would like to say that if we aren't well, if we aren't whole, we can't do work in this community. I've learned that. I've learned that the hard way, through depression and through having actually a suicide attempt. That failed because I'm here making this video. But I learned, as much as I pour out in community, I also gotta pour into me. I gotta pour into my cup just as much. And if we aren't well and if we aren't whole, we can't do anything. And we are not, we're doing a disservice. And making sure that we well and we whole is also a revolutionary act. So please hashtag march with me, hashtag live the march, because I march. Because my elders and my ancestors did it before me. I march because God gave me feet and God gave me a voice to advocate for myself, but most importantly for others. And I march because, hey, as long as folks are out here oppressed, as long as folks are out here facing injustice, then we got to make sure that the community and all those that are in positions of power feel us and hear us. Y'all be well. Thanks again. Peace.
Hey friends, it's Keisha Mabry Haymore, and I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for this honor. It's so great to virtually and digitally meet everyone. I'm trying to explain myself with the questions, but I am an author, a speaker, a motivator. I'm a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a friend, and a little bit about my background, my experiences. I'm not originally from St. Louis, but I now call St. Louis home, and have called St. Louis home for 10 years. I moved here with a program called Teach for America, so I spent a lot of my career early on in education. I'm originally from Kentucky, so still Midwest, Southern Belle. I got my undergrad in merchandising, believe it or not, and went on to get my MBA in entrepreneurship, and have always had a passion for both mission and business. Fast forward to moving to St. Louis, I moved here for a program called Teach for America, taught 8th grade science, and have had so many careers over my life. Like I really have had at least 10, I think. And I'm constantly learning, growing, reinventing myself, and chasing curiosity. After being a teacher, I was a business development manager for the food industry. I've worked as an analyst. I've worked in education again, in operations. I've worked in college access, in human resources, in innovation, in operations again. I've helped launch an education technology startup, and now I lead and direct an accelerator for entrepreneurs called Elevate Elevar. And I'm also the Growth Google Digital Coach for Missouri, and monthly teach free digital skills training for entrepreneurs to grow their brands and businesses. And I also have my own small business on the side. So I am someone who wants to see other people win. But people often refer to me as the friend who wants to see everyone win, and that's who I am. And when it comes to like being a woman, I think a woman starts with a W for a reason, because it really is about being who you want to be when you want to be it. When I think back to my childhood, I think about who I wanted to be when I grew up, and looking back 30 plus years from that moment, I am who I wanted to be. I simply wanted to be a possibility model for others, as someone who could show other people, despite their situations, regardless of their realities, they have the power to shape their life and their world the way they want it to be. Life has handed me some pretty unfortunate things, from homelessness to losing a brother violently, to gun violence a few years ago. I'm not going to apologize because I can cry. It's something that hurts still to this day. And I used to apologize for it, and we shouldn't have to. We should be able to show emotion and not be considered emotional. And if we are, who cares? Emotions are good, right? So right here and now, I'm showing you that a woman can be vulnerable. She can be emotional, and that doesn't mean she's not strong. So I want to leave you with those things today, to realize and really know for yourself that you can be whoever, whenever you want to be. And to figure that out, like, who are you? Who is she? Who is her? You know? And that's what I do every single day. I figure it out as a wife, as a mom, trying to balance and have work-life understanding with all of those things. So thank you so much for this honor. I really appreciate it. And I feel so fortunate that you thought of me enough to honor me. So thank you, St. Louis. Thank you, Women's March of St. Louis. And thank you to all the women that have come before me, including my mother, who is my number one cheerleader, has always been my number one cheerleader. But she's actually competing with my husband and my daughter these days. But thank you to them. They are my reason for being able to do all that I do, to champion, celebrate, and support other women. So thank you to them, and to all of my many friends and family here in St. Louis. I appreciate you all. I love you all. Thank you so much for mentoring me, advocating for me, supporting me, sponsoring me, and all the above. I really appreciate you all. I hope everyone has a great rest of your day. And if I can ever be a resource, please just call, email. I'm just one call or DM away. Thanks, friends.
My name is Tammy Holland. I have lived in St. Louis my whole life. I am a mother. I am a daughter. I am a sister. I am a stage 4 colon cancer fighter. I absolutely love St. Louis and all the incredible women that make St. Louis so special, so unique, and so very great. From Josephine Baker to Maya Angelou to Tashara O. Jones, our town's Her Story is full of famously strong women. Truly, I am proud to be considered among them today. For well over 2 decades, I have dedicated myself to reaching St. Louisans through radio, television, social media, and good community relations. I consider it an honor and a real privilege to share with and to inform St. Louisans about what's happening in our town. As a St. Louis woman in media, I think it is very necessary for the voices of women in the city to always be amplified. A woman should never struggle to be heard. And that's why I marched today. I marched to encourage other women to use their voices and their platforms, not just to be cheerleaders for St. Louis, but to be truth tellers and to stand in the gap for other voiceless women in our city. Truly, I give thanks to the St. Louis Women's March for the opportunity to use my voice today. March on, sisters. March on.
We really want everyone in St. Louis to know that the St. Louis Women's March is here for you every day. Whether you are hosting an event in your community, you are needing help connecting to resources, we are a group of women who are ready to show up.
I'm Dana Kelly, Executive Director for the St. Louis Women's March. By trade, I'm a multiple business owner. But 26 years ago, however, I was an unhoused teenage mother. The Women's March started as a protest in 2017, January. Since then, however, people have tirelessly worked to make the human differences needed here locally. I march to amplify the voices of others, to bring attention to the issues the persons in my community face, and to connect them with the organizations and persons that can make the difference in their lives. We march because today we still live in a society where local injustice and inhumanities reside as well. We recognize the need for extreme positive change. Our organization assists the unhoused, provide safe housing resources for abused women and children. We mentor teenage mothers who want to be in business for themselves, just to name a few things. St. Louis Women's March continues to collaborate with organizations and elected officials who fight to protect affordable reproductive health care and provide care to our LGBTQ+ communities. St. Louis must grow into a more humane city, and we believe it can. We love to thank everyone, every organization and business who has supported the Women's March St. Louis. Thank you to everyone who has worked tirelessly beside us over the years and have been, by image and actions, the change we are fighting, the change we stand up for, and the change we march to see. Women's March was founded and started as a protest, but we've become so much more.
The St. Louis Women's March believes that community partners and collaboration is key to our success. Not just our success, but the success of the city of St. Louis. We currently partner with NARAL, Planned Parenthood, Moho Justice, Black Transcendence, several local universities, small businesses, and neighborhoods.
The difference between the march today compared to the previous years is we're on the ground floor. We are constantly working every day. We do not just show up one day to march, but we are marching each day beside the youth and young adults who need help locally.
Thank you, St. Louis. We love you and we are here for you. Live the march and march with me.